What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Whiskey and We, episode 21. Yup. I am your host, Terry, and I'm here to bring you your daily, weekly announcements. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I hope you guys had a wonderful week thus far. We're here on this Friday. The weekend is here again, so the week is over. So let's just, kick off our shoes and relax your feet. But a few announcements before we jump into today's show. I definitely want to give a shout out to all of those who managed to get out and vote. Your voice definitely matters, and your stance means more than anything at this time in this country. So shout outs to everyone who did make the time and the effort during this past Tuesday to exercise your right. And definitely congratulations for the runners. A few unfortunate situations with Andrew Gillum and Stacey Abrams, but all hope is not lost, definitely. So definitely stay hopeful. This is not the end, of course. But on a brighter note, congratulations to all the excellent women of color that became the first of something while winning the election. So we have Johanna Hayes, for example, Ayanna Presley, just history in the making happening this week. So a lot of black excellence definitely taking place. Another announcement I have is, as I mentioned before, season 1 will be coming to a close, especially with the turn of events happening with the show. So no better time than now to come to a close with season 1 and go back to the drawing board on a lot of stuff, because I definitely want to elevate the show come next season with some new segments, some new topics, and I just want to advance on that next level and ensure that I'm bringing what I need to bring to the table to keep my listeners entertained and happy. So as of next week, I want to say it's the 16th, I could be wrong, but next week will be the final closing. It'll be the final episode of the show, and then it'll be the winter break. I got shit to do. It's busy. It's getting real busy this season. So Whiskey and We will be taking a break. Won't return until January of 2019. And like I said, with the return of season 2, new platform, new blueprint, and just new outlook and everything, but still that creative taste, that organic, that rawness to it. So stay tuned for a lot of greatness that's going to happen by year 2019. I think that's it for the announcement, so we can go ahead and jump into some whiskey for the week. So what we got going on with What's the Whiskey Friend? Alright, so what I have first is my girl Rihanna sending a cease and desist to the administration and Trump after it was found out that her songs were being played at a Trump rally. So she apparently, it was tweeted by a Washington Post reporter, Philip Rucker. He tweeted, "It's been said a million times, but here's 1,000,001. Trump rallies are unlike anything else in politics. Currently, Rihanna's Don't Stop the Music is blaring in Chattanooga as aides toss free Trump t-shirts into the crowd like a ball game. Everyone's loving it." So everyone's loving it, but us, people of color, and Rihanna, of course. So when she found out about what was happening and her music being involved, she responded to Rucker himself, saying, not for much longer, me nor my people would ever be at or around one of those tragic rallies. So thanks for the heads up, Philip." This is why I fucks with her. She stands by what she believes in strongly, and I mean, it couldn't get any better with Rihanna. I just truly stand and fucks with her, especially this response. I mean, just tragic rally. So with this coming to her attention and her team's attention, they sent out a letter, and I think they also posted, this could be via social media, I'm not exactly sure, but it was said that it has come to our attention that President Trump has utilized musical compositions and mastered recordings, including her hit track Don't Stop the Music, in connection with a number of political events held across the United States. Rihanna's legal team wrote that in the letter obtained by Rolling Stone. So they pretty much sent that to the White House, cease and desist letter. They also said, as you are and should be aware, Miss Fenty has not provided her consent to Mr. Trump to use her music. Such use is therefore improper. So yeah, she's not fucking with it, and she's not fucking with anyone in that White House right now. So she does not want her music to be played in support of any kind of Trump rally. I think there was another musician that had an issue as well, and I can't remember who. Gosh, don't even quote me. I don't know if it was Childish Gambino. It was someone that was also, they also had a song playing and he was not for it. So he took to social media to also express his disapprove of his music being played. But kudos to Rihanna to once again standing by what she believes in and voicing her opinion and not taking no shit. So good for her. In other music, while we're on that topic, we have Normani, who is set to join Ariana Grande's Sweetener World Tour, kicking off in North America on March 2019, and the tour will continue through June 18th. So she announced this on November 5th, this past Monday, that she's going to be joining for the first leg of the Sweetener Tour. A lot of people have said that Normani, obviously she's inspired by Beyonce and Beyonce's legacy and Beyonce's music and the ambiance of Beyonce. I mean, who wouldn't? But you can clearly see a close distinction in what can truly become if she keeps pushing and keeps grinding for this, because she truly has the stage presence. I think she was on Dancing with the Stars probably last season. I don't know if she won or not. I think she probably did, but for those who obviously don't know where she's come from, she's definitely in the group with Fifth Harmony. And it eventually reaches a point with girl groups, we've seen it before, where they eventually start to break out into their solo careers, and boy bands as well. We got NSYNC, Justin did it, the Pussycat Dolls, I don't know, they just were over Nicole fucking taking the spotlight. So I think they all had their own songs, or I think now if you look into the singers of Pussycat Dolls, they have their own solo careers. They're just not getting the spotlight, like, you know, they're not mainstream as they should be. But I remember a few years ago listening to a few like club hits from some of them, underground, underrated. But yeah, like all groups, the same thing is happening to Fifth Harmony. We had Camilla, who left first, and she's become a pop hit. I think Dinah is also coming out with some single music. I remember Lauren having like a song or two of her own. I don't know about Allie, I think her name is. I don't know. I don't think she's coming out with any music. I mean, she's not my favorite. But Normani has always had that it factor. And if not Dinah, Normani has always been my favorite. So I definitely am rooting for her. I cannot wait. I know she's supposed to be coming out. She came out with a few hits with Calvin Harris already. A few bops. If you guys haven't heard it, definitely check it out. But I think I remember speaking on it episodes ago that she's supposed to be collaborating with Calvin Harris, and hopefully they are both creating a solid album, or I don't know if it's going to be a Calvin Harris album with her featured on a few songs, because usually that's how his songs are. He'll have just wide range of artists over the entire album. But with or without Calvin, I would love to see more from Normani. So I think this tour, headlining it, being the opening act for Ariana Grande, would definitely give her that further push into the spotlight. But I've seen a few performances from her, and I mean, the girl has absolutely killed it. She has that star power that Beyonce had back in the day. So she is definitely destined to be following in Beyonce's trails down the line. Like, she's not going to be Beyonce overnight, let alone be Beyonce at all, because nobody can be Beyonce. But she definitely has that high star potential to make something out of herself as Normani. She did the tribute to Janet Jackson. Jackson. My ass. Well, you know, when there's whiskey, there's definitely whiskey lisp. That's something that did not leave the show. So, what was I saying? No, she gave a great tribute to Janet Jackson by doing one of my favorite songs, The Pleasure Principles. So, yeah, the girl's got it. I mean, she is one of the strongest out of the Fifth Harmony crew, if not the strongest. So, I would not go to see Rihanna in concert, unfortunately. But if Normani ever, when she decides to do her solo tour, big or small, I'm willing to support it, and I would give her my coins to go and see her perform, because I can tell based off of what I've seen this far, she has a great performance. She has great stage presence, and her voice is not too bad. So definitely stand behind this, and kudos to her for making her moves and starting her solo path and her solo career. What we got next is something brief. Kerry Washington is returning or going to, I don't think she's ever been on Broadway, but she's definitely hitting the Broadway stage now in the Broadway show American Son. I hear it's pretty it's definitely entertaining. It's deep, it makes you think, but it also tackles a lot of situations that we deal with in today's world, especially people of color. I believe the story surrounds her and her, I guess, ex-husband. I want to say ex-husband or ex or whatever, waiting to hear news about their missing son. So they're waiting in a police waiting room. I don't know if the entire Broadway show takes place, but based off of the reviews, she has a lot of she's received a lot of support from fellow stars. It's been rated a pretty good Broadway show. Like I said, it's pretty deep, it's pretty intense. It says that their son, her and the husband's son in the act, and some of his friends have had an unexplained run-in with the highway police. So this is considered bad news, considering what we deal with today in this nation of the US. You can kind of see where it's going to go and where the story's going to unfold at. So it seemed I would definitely go and see it. It premiered on, when did it premiere? November 4th is when I believe it premiered. So if you guys haven't heard about it, definitely look into it for people who love to go and see Broadway shows. I know I enjoy a Broadway show here and there, and I would love to see Kerry on the stage doing her acting outside of something as far as like Scandal. I mean, I'm not gonna say I never watched. I watched a few Scandal episodes. I just didn't get into the season. I'm not gonna say I didn't get into it because it's bad. I just never got hooked on it. There wasn't that click for me. I'm sure if I watch it now consistently, I could probably get into it, but I don't know. Anybody got time to be watching hour shows? I'm trying to keep up with American Horror Story. I mean, that shit's good. I'm trying to also keep up with How to Get Away with Murder. I can't sit inside all day. I can probably give a day every now and then to binge watch TV shows, but once I get so far behind, I'm still trying to catch up with Game of Thrones before the final season premieres. But I think I'm still on season 2, so we'll see how that goes. It's just, if it's an hour-long show, you gotta have my attention. Like, you gotta have me hooked nonstop. So there's too many shows. I'll add Scandal to the list at some point. I think it's coming to a final close, or it probably already did. I don't know. So we'll see, but it's something I could definitely check out down the line. But this show is also something I would definitely be interested in seeing. So I'll have to look and see when the show times are and how much the tickets are. But the show American Son is now on Broadway, so definitely check that out. So last but not least, we have Idris Elba being named by People Sexiest Man Alive for 2018. Congratulations definitely. I mean, the man deserves it, and I'm totally behind it. I think Idris is the perfect match. Idris represents that type. If I ever were to have a type, Idris represents that type of guy, just full of maturity and black confidence and just this stallion type vibe. I mean, the man is 6'3", so he did say it was like an ego boost for sure. I mean, who wouldn't get their ego boost by being named the sexiest man alive for the year? I think last year it was Blake Shelton, I believe, the country singer from The Voice. So, I mean, no shade to Blake, but yeah, this is definitely the route that it should be going, with having people like Idris. I wasn't all for Blake being named the sexiest man alive, but to each his own. It is what it is. I believe the first one ever in 1985 was Mel Gibson. So, and I can see that. Back in that day, I could probably see Mel Gibson being named the sexiest man alive. Probably. I don't know. Don't quote me. But, yeah. Kudos to him. A normal day for Idris. It says that, like, during his interview with People Magazine, you know, Idris does normal, regular, smuggler, degular stuff like us. He'll be DJing in Ibiza, kickboxing in Thailand, or designing his own clothing line, or planning his wedding that he's got coming up. I mean, just regular stuff. I do that all the time. You know, I just wake up one day and I just want to go kickboxing on the mountaintop, or I want to DJ down at the hottest hotel or party in Manhattan. Just, yeah, regular stuff. I mean, we do this every day. But for real, the man, he seems pretty interesting, I would say. London native, but it's great to see him. It's great to see a beautiful black man gracing the cover. He's representing his grays, his salt and pepper on the face, and to me, I just think just seeing a black man with salt and pepper, embracing their age, embracing their grays on their head or in their beard, just shows wisdom. I just think it looks good on a black man. It fits them and it ages them well. So yeah, congratulations, and hopefully next year will be another beautiful black man. But with that, we can wrap up What's the Whiskey Friend. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we got Keeping It Real. Hey everyone, so some great news. Whiskey and We is now available for streaming on Spotify. Yep, you heard it right. So for those who don't get access, anybody you know, obviously, because our listeners mostly are listening through iTunes, but if you know anyone that could not access the Whiskey and We streaming, they can now do so through Spotify. So definitely tell your friends and family. Also, be sure to follow Whiskey and We at Instagram. Leave a comment, ask a question. But overall, we do appreciate the support. And if you haven't already, like, subscribe, rate. So with all that said, let's get back to the show. All right, and we are back. Hope you guys enjoyed your little break. I think from my end, it was about like 2 seconds. So we got Keeping It Real. And for this week's Keeping It Real, I want to speak on something opinionated based off of an article of an incident that took place this week. So I don't know if you all that are listening heard about the teacher that was arrested for allegedly beating up a student who I guess called him the N-word. Well, an altercation took place at a school. He was a musician teacher. A student was not in dress code. It was a dress code violation, so the teacher told him that he had to leave the classroom. I think things escalated where the students started calling him racial slurs or whatever it was and threw a basketball at him. So the teacher, you can see the video. The video is definitely online because I've seen it. Then goes into like I wouldn't even say rage, but definitely starts to kind of just go at it with the student. A few hits going in back and forth. Some students jumped in to break it up. A majority of them, like the millennials would do, pulled out their phone to record. Like I said, this teacher was arrested on Friday, this past Friday, but I guess with all this happening, a former colleague or student, I want to say, ended up raising a GoFundMe for the teacher, and it raised over $149,000. So, okay, I mean, times are a little bit different now, and I can only speak from personal experiences. I won't speak things as if they're facts. I just speak on how I try to understand things. I mean, when I was going to school back in the day, I don't think it was to this level, but I do remember there being just some form of respect that we as students had to give our teachers. We didn't have it like kids have it today, where you can have your phones out and all this craziness going on. I don't even think I didn't get a phone until I was 17, honestly. So I also don't remember teachers being very physical. However, I do remember my gym teacher like pulling out the long ass paddle. I didn't get a whooping, but I remember him slapping up a few of the students who were either fighting. I think they were fighting, and once it was broken up, they had to lean their asses over and take about 3 hits of this mahogany wood ass paddle. So looking back on it, it could have been considered a little extreme. I definitely understand that, because the teacher, them fighting, that gym teacher didn't necessarily have the right to resort to that kind of a punishment for them. But I get it. I mean, especially in high school, junior high. This was junior high. So some boys, yeah, like you got to give them a good ass whooping. Now today, because I definitely took, at one point I was in the school system, especially working in the school system here in New York, around the first couple years I moved up here, and witnessing how these high school students are. I was going to a school down in Chelsea, and I was doing like some admin work, some after school program, but just, man, it was crazy. Like, I remember saying, like, I would not want my brother to come up to New York unless he finishes high school, because I would not want him to go to the high schools up in New York. It was just a different level from what I was used to going to high school in the South, and just a different generation now at this point. But I remember, like, there was an incident where a student got stabbed over a girl, or just some situation. It's just crazy. Not to say that the violence is new in the school system. There's always been violence, and I've witnessed it even in my time. But in this situation, I just think a lot of these younger generation kids have lost the ability to respect their adults, their teachers, their seniors, and they get out of pocket to where some of them do need an ass whooping. Like, if this kid is not in dress code and you're being asked to leave the class, how dare you call the teacher not only out of his name, but racial slurs, and then have the audacity to throw a basketball? That's assault right there. It's just crazy how brave these kids are, because they're not getting that stern discipline that we kind of did back in the day, because parents are so quick to sue and blame the teacher, and you got these badass kids coming into this school thinking that they can do whatever they want. I heard that I watched the interview, and a lot of the students sided with the teacher, because they knew that they expressed that the teacher had a lot of love for his students, and he wasn't in the wrong. This kid was calling him all kind of names and pretty much being a bully. So in hindsight, the students are saying that no, he deserved that ass whooping. And man, I mean, he got knocked from the left hook and the right hook. The video's intense, because you don't want to see your child on the news possibly getting his ass whooped in a fist fight with the teacher. I mean, I get it, and I don't even have any kids, but I do get it. However, it is your responsibility to make sure that your badass kid at home is getting the proper training and the proper respect, so that when he steps out into this world, he doesn't put his foot in his mouth and his head in his ass and think that he can get away with stuff like this and not deal with some sort of consequence. I mean, a lot of these students, I can imagine they probably go into the school thinking that the teachers can't touch them, they can do whatever. I saw a video, I don't know what, it just angered me this week, where it was this lady. I don't know what happened, but the lady was speaking. Whether she pissed the student off or not, the student is going to push his or her friend, I don't even know if it was a girl or boy, and decide to punch the teacher, an old lady. So yeah, you don't want to see your child on the news, on video, getting his ass whooped by a teacher, but at the same time, you wouldn't want to also see your mother getting punched by a student for no reason, like defenseless. These students get out of pocket. So things definitely have to change. I mean, you got to start at home. These parents have to start teaching your kids some form of respect, because once they step out into that real world and they're adults, nobody's gonna feel sorry. I think the kid was 14, but these kids got mouth on them, and I hear it all the time when I ride the subway, when I'm walking. They got a mouthpiece on them and they come off disrespectful all the time. And I think this teacher just reached this breaking point where he had enough. But you parents need to make sure that you are disciplining their asses at home. Put them in karate or some shit, because they're going to cross the wrong person like they crossed this teacher. And they're going to have to deal with the consequences. And now you want to probably, I'm sure they're going to probably press charges. That's why this GoFund is happening, to possibly help him with his fines and his fees that he's going to have to deal with in court. But I'm sure that the parents want to press charges and things can be placed. Victimization can be here and there. But I mean, honestly, I can see both sides in this situation. It's like, I think the teacher kind of went a little overboard, because he was straight up hands up. But at the same time, these students do get out of pocket. These kids get out of pocket and they talk out of their asses. And it takes that one good word or that one good assault, like you throwing a basketball, to send somebody over the edge to where they like, you know what, maybe you're not getting the ass whooping at home, so I'm gonna demonstrate one right now on you and help you realize that you can't go around treating people like this. And maybe it'll help you in the future when you get out in the real world, because until you learn how to deal with some respect, every time you open your mouth as an adult, especially in New York, like people I feel like people love to fight every day or argue, or people are just angry half the time walking around. So learn some respect, and parents, definitely teach your kids to respect their elders, because these are hardworking people. They don't get paid enough as is, and they gotta come to school and deal with your badass kids, calling them names and being disrespectful and shit. Nobody wants to deal with that. So whoop your kids at home before they get another ass whooping by a teacher that's like, fuck it, I don't care about this job anymore, but this kid done pissed me off, so now I gotta TKO his ass out, and maybe it'll help his future. So that's my keeping it real. It was crazy. It was a crazy fight. I was like, damn. It definitely wasn't like that in my time, but gotta do better, like I always say. So wrapping up the show, I want to talk about the losers and winners. Well, I don't even have any losers this week, honestly, except probably the state of Florida, based off of the votes. And honestly, I'm not even surprised. So Florida can get my L because of how this shit turned out. It's just, oh man, with Andrew, and I can't even go into detail. It's just so disappointing how that turned out. But Florida can definitely get the L. I don't need to say much more about it. But my W can go to 49ers cheerleader by the name of Kayla Morris, who is the first NFL cheerleader to kneel during the game. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out online. I came across it on social media, and I mean, bowed down. The cheerleader took a knee Thursday night at the football game between San Francisco and the Oakland Raiders, and I'm absolutely behind this. I mean, this is the movement is happening, and it's good to see more people standing up for what they believe in. Beautiful. I want to see more people out on the field, and I don't want to hear no shit from no racists saying you're there to play football, protest on your own time, fuck out of here. Like, freedom of speech. And I'm glad to see people standing up against the feedback that you can get from people that don't understand, that are too ignorant to understand why we do this. And I'm just tired of having to try to explain it to people to get them to understand, when they just choose to be racist or they choose to look the other way and try to seem like they understand, but they really don't. They don't want to understand. They want to stay stuck in their mindset and believe that it's an all lives matter thing, or it's disrespectful to the flag, and they want to convince themselves that this is disrespectful, not seeing the true definition behind it. So anyways, good win for Kayla Morris. Like I said, support it. Want to see more things like that. And that wraps up this week's episode of Whiskey and We. Like I said in the beginning, next week will be the last episode of season 1, and we will take a winter break, and then I will make a fucking triumphant return. So as I mentioned many times before, thank you. I was about to say kudos, but kudos, thank you to all that have supported, all that have reached out, and all that have continued to listen. It gets better and better every week. The more and more I do this, it gets better and better every week. And although it can be a challenge, I'm one that's all for challenges, and I'm one that's all for elevating and improvement. So yeah, definitely look out. Like, shit's about to get real crazy, and it's about to only go up from here. So I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I don't know what the weather's going to be like. I know for me, I'm just chilling because I got schoolwork to do and career things to make happen. Just a whole bunch of shit going on. Like I said, it's getting dark early. Make sure y'all take y'all vitamins. Nobody has time to get sick and depressed and everything. But I will see you guys next week. So everybody, take care.